Alright guys, we have some news regarding the upcoming progressive events for the weekend. And during the Gloom Eater Path event, we will have these progressives right here this Friday, August 14th. We're planning to launch Progressive Chance event, giving you at least 15x chance to summon the champions of your choice from the selected pool from Ancient, Primal, Sacred, and Void shards. So for the non-Void legendary champion, we have Grukta Darkseer, one of the newer champions. We're going to take a look at this one in a second. Vestel Rivatorn, very amazing nuker, can deal a lot of damage and one-shot a lot of tanky champions. Amazing champion. Then we have Sanguine Maria, also a absolute menace in PvP. And then Utsol of the Jade and Wallmaster Authorion. Wallmaster is kind of more like a PvE champion. And then for the Void Legendary Champions, we have Pontiff Augustine. I actually pulled him recently, but didn't build him yet because I don't really think he's viable in the current meta. And therefore, I didn't invest any resources into him. We have Arnorn, the Shining here, still very good for Dwarf Siege Posts. And Sulfurion, he kind of fell off with his HP burn due to Total Guard. For the epic champions, we have Mistrider, the ET, one of the best epics in the entire game, as well as Deacon Armstrong and Seeker, both of them very amazing. Solid epics, definitely in the higher tiers when it comes to epics. They could easily be legendary champions. And then we have, for the Voids, Verigrant, Suncursed, and Gala Longbraids. Not so sure about Suncursed, but Gala Longbraids is amazing, deals a lot of damage, doesn't have crazy multipliers, but definitely a good champion. This event will last 72 hours, but also this Friday, August 14th, we're planning to launch a free X event for dropping Sacred Order accessories at Spider's Den. I don't think that anybody cares. And then on Sunday, August the 16th, there will be a free X event for the Retaliation set, from the Ice Golem. I don't know, all these drop fever events are kind of mid unless it's like free X speed or free X savage, but even then it's nothing we get too excited about anymore because there are just so many other sets that are much more valuable in PvP or PvE. Now let's take a look at some of these champions. So I want to highlight a few. We had this one right here, Grukta Darkseer. And this is a very interesting champion because she has AoE attacks on all of her skills. Double AoE here, another AoE here, equalize HP of all enemies, ignores defense, also has a potential double hitter on the A1 if she has more attack or equal attack to the target. So yeah, pretty amazing. I think she's overall really good for like wave content. As you can see, people rate her for Faction Wars really high, and then in general for the other locations as well. I did not get a chance to use her, but the kit looks pretty promising, so I think she's kind of like one of the better ones out of this progressive chance pool. And then we also have Vestel, right? I want to highlight her. I don't have her, but I do have a 6-star soul waiting, so I might actually pop some sacreds and see if I can get her. The rating overall is pretty amazing. She can deal so much damage and has an incredible passive. Has a 50% chance to deal 100% more damage against enemies whose attack is equal to or lower than its champions. It's kind of a little bit RNG based, but if those 50-50 chances hit, then she deals double damage kinda, and she also receives less damage from champions with less attack. So she kind of has a little bit of survivability on her passive, and then she also places unkillable and counterattack on herself. This reminds kind of Garo. And overall, she just has insane multipliers. She's self-buffing, can ignore block damage, shatter, can ignore stone skin. Amazing champion. Very surprising when she first got released how much damage this champion can actually do. And then we can't forget to mention Sanguine Maria. Probably one of the most popular free-to-play champions out there because she performs so well in this current meta with the triple hit on the A1 and the high chance to get extra turns. The only thing is, with the buff count and the turn count, you kind of, have to pay attention to that. And a lot of players still wish there was a turn count somewhere on one of her mirrors, so you actually know, at what turn your Sanguine Maria is at, because sometimes you maybe forget to pay attention or you lost count or whatever, and then you kind of screwed up. But if you can manage to use the right skills at the right time, she's an absolute menace. All right, so those are kind of like the highlights for me in this progressive chance event. Now let's actually talk about this Gloom Eater Path. It's going to start tomorrow, and we will have a chance to get a 5-star soul for Kamir Skaldai. Not only the 5-star soul, let me actually pull it up. You will also be able to get a 3-star and a 4-star soul. All of them are perfect souls, so you don't have to get the 3-star to get the 4-star and so on. But they will probably be, locked in the path behind the lower souls, so you'll probably have to get them anyway. But this is what the event's going to look like. So you will be able to get points by getting artifacts and accessories and summoning champions from shards. Okay, so it's a Gear Hunters event / Summon Rush. And this is not the only thing that you can get from here, the Perfect Soul for Kamir. You can also get Gleaming Fire Gems, or Fire Gems, however you say it. And these are the relic mats for the Forge Pass group, okay? And the Forge Pass group overall has a very high quality on the relics. So for one, you have Dread Bomb, which recently got nerfed, right? But rightfully so, because it was absolutely broken. Now you have a 10% chance to gain an extra turn when attacking. If it's maxed, you have a 20% chance. Wera also ignores 10% of an enemy's defense when attacking during extra turns. And it has 3 triangular gem slots. Absolutely amazing. I think it's the only one that has 3. And yeah, still a very amazing relic. Before, you could proc this extra turn on every hit. Now is just per attack, I believe. 1 chance per attack, which absolutely makes sense. And yeah, amazing relic still. Even after the nerf, then we have Immortal Visage with a speed main stat. Once per round, the wearer is revived with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. This might be actually a very, very cool synergy on Dorothy, right? This relic. And yeah, speed main stat, you cannot ask for more. And amazing one, okay? But not only the mythicals are good, you also have very good legendary relics here. The Bane of Cintranos. Whenever an enemy receives a buff, the wearer has a 15% chance, goes up to 30% if maxed, of getting the same buff for 2 turns. So if someone is buffing, let's say Stone Skin for 1 turn or block damage for 1 turn, you have a 30% chance to get that buff for 2 turns, all right? And people use this one on Odin, for example, and then he spreads the buffs. So that might also be a very good relic for Dorothy, for example. Then you have the Blades of Akumori with the upcoming Provoke buff or Mercurial nerf, however you want to call it. This relic will definitely move up in the ranks. Whenever an ally is attacked by an enemy, the wearer has a 15% chance, and you can max it to 30% as well, of placing a Provoke debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. So you can kind of like constantly provoke enemies if this 30% chance procs. And the cool thing is you have very fitting gemstones here for provoking. So if, let's say, you are using a provoke champion in itself, you can kind of use this gemstone right here. Let me actually move myself out of the way. So the wearer ignores 15% of the target's resistance when placing provoke debuffs. Or this one, where the enemy's speed is decreased by 7%, and you can fit 2 of these in this relic. So that's 14% less speed. Blunt blades, enemies under a provoke debuff have a 15% chance to land a weak hit on the wearer. So, by buffing provoke or giving us the chance to land provoke debuffs through Total Guard stacks, those gemstones kind of jump up in value. Before they were kind of like one of the worst ones. I think now they actually become pretty useful, and yeah, pretty amazing relic. Okay, with the rework of Mercurial, Provoke is going to be amazing, and I think this relic moved up a couple tiers. And then if we talk about the epics, I mean, they are not that insanely good, but then you also have Andromeda's Diadem, which will, give you a chance to decrease the cooldown of one of the wearer's skills by 1 turn every time they heal an ally with an active skill. Overall, an amazing relic. As an epic, pretty cool, okay? The Exile's Crown, I'm not so sure about this one. You receive less damage for each debuff. Resistance main stat. It is not bad, but it's also not too crazy. I think this is the better epic one. And then, the rares are all right, okay? But overall, the quality of the mythicals and the legendary relics in this group is absolutely busted, okay? So I would probably value the relic mats more than the soul, even though for most players, a soul for this champion will probably be very, very valuable, because I can see him being the best reviver on many, many accounts if you guys went for him. I didn't fuse him yet. I'm waiting for a proper champ chase tournament where I can get some points off of him, but once I do, I will probably use him a lot in Faction Wars Hard and maybe other stuff, I don't know. But overall, I think this champion is, even better than Arbiter, in my opinion. A reviver with affinity, that means he can get weak hit. He has an all battle speed aura, a lot more buffs, and a lot more heal. So I think there's a lot of value to this soul, and this would help a lot of players to progress in a lot of areas as well. So there could be an argument that this 5-star soul is very, very valuable to a lot of players, right? The resistance will help a lot. And not only the resistance, also a higher blessing, right? But the stats overall, and even if you just get a 3-star soul, that's additional HP and defense that will already make your champion a lot tankier. And that is exactly what you want on this guy, right? Now, for me personally, I probably don't value this soul that much because I have other options, right? That's why I would probably value the relic mats more, okay? And that's probably the case for most people that won't really plan on using him that much or have better options, right? Then you value those relic mats more. And I don't know what the threshold is going to be like, what amount of points we need to get here, but if you have some free energy, you can definitely pick up the 3-star soul, I assume, okay? So I'm not quite sure how much you would have to invest, but I think it's a very bad timing right now because we have the echoes of Oz campaign around the corner. There's a lot of motion, and there will be a lot of events and tournaments around this whole campaign. You probably don't want to miss out of any of those champions, right? So if you don't have a lot of resources saved up, you should probably skip this path. But if you are sure that you can, pick up some rewards here, maybe the mats or a 3-star soul or even the 5-star soul, and still do all of the Echoes of Oz campaign events and tournaments, then I would do that. But if not, then save your stuff for the Echoes of Oz campaign, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a deck, there's going to be a path, most likely a champ chase tournament where you can win one of those champions. We will have a loyalty champion, which is already revealed, a fusion champion, which is already revealed, and it's probably going to be the same, thing as in all the other campaigns and collabs, with a path, a guaranteed champion in a path, guaranteed champion in a deck, and in a champ chase tournament. So yeah, guys, that's about it for this video. Let me know in the comments below if you're going for this path. Are you going for the soul? Are you going for the mats? Or are you completely skipping this? Are you saving for the Echoes of Oz campaign, which does make a lot of sense? And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you like this video, YouTube's going to think that you like this one as well. Take care and see you in the next one.